This library looks like a cathedral in so many ways. Old school as it may seem, it's actually surprisingly fun. Hello my friends, I'm Cathy. Today we will explore the most iconic library at Yale University. Sterling Memorial Library feels historic, but if you think it's boring, you're wrong. Stick around until the end of this video because I will show you exactly why Gen Z at Yale love it so much here. And remember, this is Yale, Ivy League pride in New Haven. A tiny acceptance rate. Enough wealth to rival the GDP of the entire Iceland. Oh, and 5 US presidents. These big-name rule makers, for better or for worse, once walked on the same courtyard. Just picture them hauling books from the library. You can almost feel the weight of history pressing down on this place. Yes, it looks like a church, and that was the point. The design of the library borrowed straight from the medieval European churches, meant to make learning feel sacred, the same way a cathedral makes faith feel sacred. Sterling Library is definitely an iconic centerpiece of Yale, but Yale's other libraries have their own legends as well. Take the Benaki, for example. I actually made a whole video about it. For decades, people believed its glass tower could suck out all the air to stop a fire, leaving anyone inside to suffocate. Is it actually true? You'll need to watch that video after this to find out. Back to Sterling. Built in 1931, it was designed by James Gamble Rogers, Yale class of 1889. Walk through the High Street entrance. Here, if you look up, all the stained glass windows glow like church windows. Inside, the nave soars 44 feet high, stone columns guiding your eyes to the Alma Mater mural, like an altar of knowledge. Before computers, finding a book meant flipping through cards. Sterling's nave once held 185 wooden catalogs, each drawer packed with handwritten records. It was like the brain of the library. By the late 1980s, Yale rolled out Orbis, its digital catalog. When it first launched, it had about 900,000 records covering manuscripts, maps, audiovisual materials, and many more archives. Most of the card catalogs were removed, so what we see here are the few drawers that remain. Unlike many other libraries I've been to, which either empty the drawers or lock them up for decoration, these drawers at Yale, surprisingly, are not empty. Over the years, students and visitors have quietly filled them with fragments of their lives. Business cards from faraway cities, postcards and train tickets, notes folded into little squares, some lighthearted, some bittersweet. Wishes, confessions, even promises to return. Standing here today, I can feel that they've turned the card catalogs into something unexpected. It's like a collective diary of Yale. Each drawer is a small archive of hope, memory, and connection, handwritten not by librarians, but by the actual people who passed through the library. I even slipped in my own note, written on a beautiful postcard from the Banach Library featured in my last video. I left a short greeting from the library hunter, aka me, Cathy, folded and tucked into one of the drawers, and wondering maybe someday someone will see it. And maybe one day when you visit, you can add your own note too, another voice in this timeless diary. There was an exhibition centered on Shakespeare's first folio from 1623, one of the rarest and most influential books ever printed. But it wasn't just about Shakespeare, the icon. It also told a bigger story, and even the role of modern booksellers in shaping how we value Shakespeare today. That was quite an interesting exhibition. The one reading room I really wanted to see was the Linonia and Brothers room, but it was closed the day I visited. In fact, most areas of Stirling reopened after COVID, but the L&B Reading Room stayed closed for a long time because its old ventilation system didn't meet pandemic air standards. That eventually turned into a chance for a full $10 million renovation. From photos online, we can see the final result. In 2024, the room finally reopened. Brighter, fresher, but you can still see its history. However, I had heard of this room before my visit for another reason. For most of its history, this room wasn't so cozy for everyone. It was men only. Women were officially banned until 1963, when Yale finally opened the room to the ladies. That was the actual language in the memo. At the very same time, the alma mater mural at the end of the nave, symbolizing knowledge as a woman, holding Yale's motto, if I'm pronouncing correctly, Lux et Veritas, light and truth. Surrounded by allegories of science, music, literature, all women. All these symbolic women celebrated on the walls, while the real women weren't even allowed to sit under them. That contradiction lingered for decades. Today, it's finally changed. Yale now commemorates its first 7 women PhDs from 1894 in a modern portrait. 7 trailblazing scholars who earned doctor's degrees just 2 years after Yale even allowed women into graduate programs. That is really remarkable. Stirling looks old world on the outside, but inside is pure industrial age innovation. At the core of the library is a 150 feet tall book tower, 16 tiers of shelves, held together by 2,000 tons of steel and iron. Back in the 1930s, it was well known as the largest welding job of its time. Isn't that incredible? And it wasn't just shelves. Yale wanted to be able to make books with machine efficiency. So the designer Rogers built in conveyor belts and a pneumatic tube system. Imagine dropping a slip in a tube and having your book request zoom through the building in seconds. And remember, that was decades before email. For the 1930s, it was cutting-edge library tech for sure. The Stirling Memorial Library doubles as a gallery of Yale's history. The centerpiece of the library, as we just mentioned, is the Alma Mater mural. Painted in the 1930s, Alma Mater stands under the tree of knowledge, surrounded by allegories of truth, science, labor, music, the arts, divinity, and literature. Right below the Stirling Library is the base library, tucked underground but still full of light. It is connected to Stirling by a tunnel under the nave, so you can literally walk from one library ward to another. The sunken courtyards letting natural light, so it never feels like a basement. As we walk inside the base library, we can feel a younger vibe. Shelves of graphic novels, media equipment you can borrow, and even the Reading Resilience project, where students spotlight books from underrepresented voices. Even though the Sterling building feels timeless, all the libraries at Yale keep adapting to how new generations read and learn. And if you need quiet, uninterrupted time, there are plenty of study cubes you can reserve. I like these little private corners where you can zoom in and focus on your study. And keep your eyes open for little things. Owls are everywhere at Yale. They've long been symbols of wisdom tied to the Greek goddess of learning. It feels like these cute little symbols of knowledge is watching over you here. For almost a century, Sterling has shaped how its students learn, lead, and imagine. Walking inside the library, I can definitely feel the weight of history. As we step out of Sterling Library, Yale's campus opens up like a movie set. I actually talked to a few students here, and they told me how much they love the beauty of this place. The historic buildings, the quiet courtyards, the sense of safety on campus, it all makes Yale feel like its own little world. But outside of Yale, New Haven is complicated. The city has high poverty rates, pockets of crime, and a sharp economic divide between university and the neighborhood around it. You can easily feel that divide, like Yale is a self-contained bubble inside the city. And maybe that's exactly what makes the campus so special. Thanks for walking with me through the Sterling Memorial Library. If you enjoyed this tour, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Join me for more library adventures. Thank you to my friends over San Jose State University iSchool for their continuous support of the channel Library Hunter. I will see you in the next library. Bye!